We're back, but we're starting somewhat lost connection here, new system and everything. So we will have those circumstances that arise. We did not come through clearly at the beginning of this broadcast, which started about 25 minutes ago, concerning the last day or the last time that we are in discussing our Zahim Birmin. He and his precious wife married 43 years, and she passed on from this life. And we would have had service tonight, but I said, in such a it's a battle for us all because we know each other. We live in the proximity of neighbors. And what the Torah truly means, what a neighbor is, engaging in the help of each other, living in this communal construct. That things like this have such bad names because those that have been leaders, supposedly leaders, they have not lived true to the value of what a community of Yah truly is. Men raping the women, and it's just such vile filthiness. And that's just the truth. Two, three, four, five wild wives. He demands us that he can handle that he is a fool. I'll tell the man to his face. He's a fool. The Torah doesn't teach that. But let's get back to what I was speaking of. Yeshua speaks in Yochanan 6:39. And the Torah says, and this is the Ava will which has sent me. He gives us the Hafitz, the will of Yah, what please him. We cannot do anything outside of the construct of Torah. That's the only thing, nation. We can abide in our own laws and rituals, but it doesn't satisfy the Most High Yah. It is not what he takes delight in. He takes delight in a pure, and that is a heart that is not vile and defiled with a man's own type of judgment and his own will that dispose the will of Almighty Yah. It doesn't work that way. We're talking about the Acharith, the last day. It is the end of time. And in death, that's the end of time with man. We must all understand. I'm not fearful of death. I am not. We are all going to pass from this life. And we're going to be judged by this book, whether we knew him or not. And that's just the factual truth. He will raise him up in the last days. And that is the determination of we as a nation of Yah's elect. And then he also inspires us. In Yochanan 6:40, and this is the will, the Hafitz, the pleasure of Yah, he that sent me, that everyone which sees, and great is he that is in me than he that is in the world. And we in each other, we must see. We must see the power of the Son. Yeshua, that he overcome all of the trials and the battles that would be stored upon him for his flesh. And the power of the truth of Yah would subdue those things, and that we will not be given over unto those things, which sees the Son, and we must believe, we must have faith on him. May have li'olam vi'ah, we may have everlasting life. That's what the book says. Chayil, his life, his ruach, the spirit of his Torah dwells in us. The Torah is spiritual, nation. Let no one trick you. It is. And because it has been ridiculed by the many organizations of religious activities, all of them, just one of the simplest of commands, Zachar HaShabbat. You keep that set apart. I was not taught that. I was taught as a child it was a disdain. That's not what the Most High Yah meant. He meant for it to be the first day. And there are battles on that, sighting the moon first, and then there are all kinds of doctrine. But Yah is one that is not the author of confusion. He doesn't confuse this nation. We have so many broad branches of what we call the house of Israel. Are we really doing the will of Yah? He's going to raise me. He's going to raise Zachim. But it means it shall up in the last day. Well, it seems like a long time. When could it be? 30 years, 50? There is no time, no element of measuring the time of Yah because time is. When is that? 1,000 year time is. Today, right this moment, time is. 5 minutes ago, time is. That's what it implies. For the last days. And the Yahudim then murmured at him, because he said, I am the Lechem. I'm the bread which come down from the Shemayim. I'm the one that came down from heaven. And they said, is not this Yeshua, the son of Yosef, whose father and Ema, his Avat and Ema, we know? How is it then that he said, I have come down from the Shemayim? This is our carnal way of ingesting and digesting things that we have been taught in our youth, our childhood. That those that taught us did not have the wisdom of this book. They had no, that is not to denigrate anyone. Do you have levels of school when you're in school? There are levels of schooling. Those that were smart. My desire when I was in school, we had honor roll. And I pressed to make the A honor roll. And I made it several times. But usually the B, the A, and the B honor roll. And they would post that in our segregated school. And we were inspired to learn and to help each other, to work with each other. And you would see your friends that were very knowledgeable and they understood things. And you all would provoke one another, but who is the smartest? We did in my era of time. We got those report cards, we running home, we want everyone to see our grades in elementary school, in junior high school. I became despondent in high school and I quit. I joined the military. I moved to Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and then from there I joined the military during what they call the conflict in Vietnam. I am a Vietnam era non-combat veteran because I volunteered during the time of the Vietnam era war. They did not send me to Vietnam. They sent me to Europe, Germany. That's where they sent me. And because of that, not everyone was a soldier in the military. There are men that were spit and polish. I did not emphasize that when I was in there. I wanted to get out, but I can say for my period of time, probably the best thing for me. Listen to what Yeshua says. He says to us, it is written in the prophets that they shall be all taught of Yah. That is something that we don't even consider. We come, we know everything. No one can tell us anything. We're just like little children. That's what he calls us, little children. We're just like that nation. Isn't that the nature of a little child? They do not want to be taught, the mother, the father, or anyone saying anything to them. They think that they know. They become very disillusioned, and they become hard-headed. It is one thing that my mother, my grandmother would say, a hard head make a soft rear end. They didn't say it that way, but they said it that way because they would put the rod of correction upon us, nation. And Yah is not one that will not put his rod upon us. Whom Yah loves, he corrects. And he brings us to the last day of our Moed. Let me just inject this. I'm going to teach things and show where I can show you like I'm doing now. I want to show you even things that you don't know. We have been beguiled, we have been tricked. We will defend things we don't even know. You get your Pesach, you pass away every year in the spring. You don't even know what you're doing. And those that are your leaders, they will not be honest enough to tell you. And that's a fact. There is no lunar solar calendar. There is only a solar or lunar. We have made up a lunar solar that we can take it back to the spring every year. We don't even realize what we're doing, and our leaders don't. I want to show you. I'm going to show you even many places on the internet and tell us how this came to pass. And there are those that do not know how to explain this, so they will not discuss it. They have our minds tricked. You having tabernacle this time of the year? They have our minds so tricked. We are stooped in our own ignorance. We have not been taught properly. You don't even know how to ask the questions to even question the man that tells you when it's time for the feast. I'll teach you when it's time. Let me read just one more verse here. As it is written in the prophets, the Nevi'im, and they shall all be taught of Yah. Why does he send the prophet the Nobi? Where is the prophet? Where are the prophets? There is not a prophet around today. They can say they are prophets. But it's one thing that the power of a prophet, a Nobi, does. He transforms everything. And these men, they call themselves prophets. I will simply say, get out of here. You're no prophet to me. And that's a fact. And I am an ignorant man. I say it that way. I am. This is what he said. Except the above which has sent me, draw you. He must draw me. How about his truth? We are taught. We began to understand the nature of his Torah. And I will raise him up in the last day. He will raise him up in the last day. And we're in a time of great affliction, of great agony, and sin of our own cause. We deny the Torah of Yah. We participate in every kind of devious day, every kind of concept and all of that. They have given people of my hue a Caucasian man. In my days, in the 50s and 60s, you did not wear long hair. It was not that way. It was only until the 60s and the late 60s that it was almost a rebellious thing for men to grow the hair long. We called them afros, and every man of my hue would wear an afro. I know I did. Take care of it, make sure it's clean. And that was a sign, just like women began to put on pants, because when I was in school, a woman, a young daughter, could not wear slacks. The only time she could wear them in those days, they had leggings, but not like today. They would have to have a skirt over their slacks. That was the only time. When it's viciously cold, you must understand, nation, that people of my hue, in many cases, we walked to school. I know I did. I walked to elementary school. I walked to junior high school. And it was only when I went to high school that we were bused. And that's the way it was for me. And that's the truth. We must hear the voice of the true Nabi, the prophet, the prophets. We must hear those that have been taught, shall all, and they shall be all taught of Yah. They must be taught of the messengers of Yah, the men that represent the covenant blessing. They represent the truth, because his word is very powerful, sharp, sharper than any two-edged sword. It's meant to cut nation. It's meant to disrupt you and your ways. It is not meant to coddle me or you and mind corruption. It's not going to do that. It is meant to offend you. And in that offense, He's showing me my despicable ways that are vile and sadistic and very evil. And that's the nature of man. We see this throughout this book. I want to move just a little farther here, nation. Let me. He tells us in Timotheus 3 and 1. This is Shaul writing, and he's warning Timotheus of the time of these great perils that should arise. He says, this know that is simply Yada. You have the knowledge, the understanding, you have the wisdom. So Yah brings us in the order of his Mo'adim to the last great day. And we can look over the great battles that we have encountered, endured, during the time of from last season of the great last day until now, or from Pesach to the first Pesach of this year. And so we understand the perils of this time. We understand the opposition. The opposition is not some man coming against me, it's me coming against the truth of Yah. When I hear this truth, I harden my heart. I despise it. I reject it. I detest it. Because it speaks directly to me. When someone is speaking to someone else, you have no problem like I do with that. But when it strikes in the depths of your love, your heart, the sharp, powerful sword, you know it's meant for you. And we get angry, we get upset because we are a people that think highly of ourselves. Our children, our sons and daughters, they can do anything because we as parents, we have taught them that they are right. We have justified them in their wrong. We don't correct them, nation. And their sons and daughters, my, I often say if in my corrupt life, my oldest son would be in his 50s. He would be that old. And his children and his children's children, this has become a generation that is so corrupt. It's sad. And someone must answer to Almighty Yah. He says this to Timotheus. He talks about how men should be lovers of their own selves. They are never wrong. I am never wrong. It's always someone else. I cannot stop talking like this nation. They become covetous. They're greedy and very lustful. They lust for their friends' daughters and their wives. They do that. They're boastful. They're arrogant. Arrogant. They're very proud and humorous and think they're above everyone. And they are blasphemers. They call upon a name that is so false, the Jesus. That is not a Hebrew name. A name must be transliteral. You cannot translate a name. My name is David. My mother named me. It is Dawoodi in Kenya. It is David. So it has enunciations in languages, but his name stands above all languages. And his name is Yeshua HaMashiach. I'm not going to debate you how to enunciate it. We're all uneducated and unlearned. In the specifics of Yah, we have not had the teachers to guide and teach us. We will see these blasphemers. They are disobedient to parents. I know I fit all of the elements of this category because I was birthed in this kind of environment. I was disobedient to my parents. I lied. I did all the things that a young 15, 16-year-old, 17-year-old would do. I did all that. And because of, and especially today, we're so unappreciative. My mother worked hard. When I say it's me. Everything this book speaks, it speaks to me and my ear. But I love my mother. I would hustle and make money and bring it home to my mother because I really loved my mother because there was never a father in our home. Disobedient that I was a liar, sneak around and do things to my parent. Unthankful. I can't say that because I was very appreciative to whatever she was able to give us. Six children by six men, different, and we were quite. We were not poor like one in some nation of Africa or even South America. We had a place in all of those things. We got surplus foods and all of those things. But my mother had to work. She worked, caught the bus to work, and kept us alive. She did that. I'm very appreciative for that, my mother. We are people that do not even know the power of being chadosh. We're so unclean. That's what the Torah tells us. We are unclean. Our ruach is not clean. Our minds and our hearts are not clean. And then this is vital, as Timotheus says. This is in the book, is it not, nation? You can't. You cannot get upset with me. And we as a people, we get mad at anyone that speaks directly to me. This speaks directly to me. It may not to you, but this speaks to me wholeheartedly. I fit every category of expression, superlative, everything I fit. All of this I do. It's only my own arrogance and my haughty ways that will say, oh, I'm better than that. My chillins are better than her chillins. We all did the same thing, Mama. We hung together, we lied, we would steal, we did all that together. I don't care who the son was. I don't care if he had a father and mother. We all would hang together. And there is no affection today. You don't say with husband and wives, not because you hold hands. That doesn't mean that you have that great sense of affection, care, and love. Because you do that, man beat his wife up and then he grab him by the hand. We going to Walmart, and he pretends. We don't have that natural affection that people can see it. You don't even have that with your own natural family. And so those that you know, if you cannot have that kind of natural, just natural, it is one thing, something that is natural. You don't have to pretend. You don't have to act in this superficial form. It just flows. It blossoms in you, just like love. What we call love it's a crying shame, and that's the truth. You haven't been taught love. We haven't. And our parents, bless them all, they did not have the ability to teach from this book, and many of the organizations that formalize their own religious tenets, and they did them outside of the realm and the text of this book, nation. And that's the truth. If we would judge ourselves, if I just judge myself, I have no need for you to judge me. We have to truly judge myself like I judge you. Has to be with the same intensity. And you and I judge people with an intensity. We don't judge ourselves. We don't tell of my corruption, how vile I am. That's my prayer. That's the only way. I don't know how to pray for others. I'm not going to lie for you. I do Baruch. I do call upon the nation, Yisrael. But when I pray and I talk to Yah, it's about me getting my life correct according to the order of this book. Or you may say, oh, Yah, bless my brother and sister, bless my cousin. Oh, stop that. That's not prayer. You know, it has no impact. It does not transform you, your attitude toward them that you pray for. And we know that's a truth. We must, first of all, nation, as a people, be honest with ourselves. That's the most important thing. He tells us not this love to care without natural affection. He's talking to me. This is what Shaul is saying. We're truce breakers. We have no honor in keeping a commitment. Husbands and wives, men having 2 or 3, 4, 5 wives. Marry this one, separate this one, marry another, separate that one, marry another one. That's how they do it. Because they don't understand what this natural affection, this care of love, and we don't even understand that nation. And then we promote ourselves to think that we know all things, but that's not the truth. If you truly examine yourself, you'll find out your limited resources in this walk of life. You really, truly will. If you just do that, I tell you what, my friend, judge yourself like you judge me. And they're not really that like me. I don't, I have no disposition of aught against someone that doesn't like me. I'm perfectly content with that. I am. Well, they didn't like Yahshua. You know Yahshua. Reata we Israel. Yahweh. They killed the Navi'im, the prophets and the messengers. I have no messenger like Shaul and like Hefa, the great men of Yah. I am not. It will be a privilege just to put their sandals on and wash their feet. And then he talks about this word incontinent. We are a people that achrates, achrates. We have no control, nation. You see what it means? Achrates, achrates. That's who we are. We have no control. Our temperate. We're not tempered. We get mad at everything, don't we? Yes, we do. False accuser. Then we're fierce. Ah, husband and wife. You get so angry that you despise each other. These are the only things that will heal a marriage. When you confront them head on, you must confront them head on. You can't lie to her and she can't lie to you. You must confront your ills one with the other, confessing your faults. I'm a wicked husband. Sometimes I think this and that. You don't have to go in the details. You will realize how free you will become. How do I know it? I know it, my friends. I've been married for a day or two, and I understand that. I've been married for a moment of time, pressing for that 50th anniversary. I have. We're despisers of those that are tough, those that are excellent. We hate those. We learned that in school, did we? Young men, young boys look different than girls. Girls will get mad at each other and want to fight. Very few fight that I recall in our segregated school. We walked to school in my day. No buses. Cold rain, not having the proper material, not having raincoats. My mother could not afford that. And I would hustle at the corner stores to pass out tracts, had a paper route. And then I would give my mother half of the money. And in those days, I could go to Family Dollars. I could buy a pair of slacks for $2. Nothing over $2. They went up. Back in those days, you could. So if I can hustle and make $15, $20, I would give my mother half of it. I put the other half. I would use that for the things that were necessary for me. I recall the first job I had. It was a government job do in our community, the people of my hill, and I worked at the police department. The first thing I would do when I get paid, I would give my mother half of my. So I was only making $29 a month, but I was able to buy a pass to ride the bus for a week, about $7. I was able to save money to purchase my school attires. When school started back, I did, and I was happy as a frog on a lily pad. We are people that despise those that do righteous by each other. You get upset because you despise me and you expect others that you associate in your social element that don't despise that one you despise. And with despiser, I know what it says, those that are tough, those that are good, that we consider what we call good. And we're traitors. We as a nation of people who will turn coat on anyone. You will. This is what Yah says of us. We're heady. We are very haughty people. It's almost like debating someone that has a knowledge of scholarship in this book, the writing of Torah, and you want to show him, that person. You want to show how brilliant you are. But your actions, as in my days they would say, your actions speaks louder than words. So it's not what I say, my friends. It is the action. You will know them by the fruit. You will know Yisrael, not by the skin hue or anything, by the fruit. I've got a teaching of hundreds of pages, and I'm going to begin to show us proof, evidential proof. Those even of the house of the true Israelites. He sent his people, he scattered them into every nation, every goyim, every nation, every part of the world. Not just in America, Hebrew Israelites, don't forget, 25, 30 years ago, you stress consistently that the only people of Israel is they that were in the islands of the sea, the Pacific, and those that were in America, how flagrant of a mistruth that was, and it's still in. And now you have changed that philosophy. You got camps in Africa, in the nation, that continent, that's what I call it, and all over. But it's still based upon the skin hue. He scattered them to every part. They went south of Egypt. They went west. They went east. They sailed the ocean. They sailed the sea. The Nile, that's where they went. He scattered them. They crossed the blanket of this world. And that's a fact, nation. You will know them by the peri, the fruit of kindness and love. You will. And I met people in my walk here in the South. And I let them know I don't play with people. I'm an old man. I don't play. I never have as a young man. Well, you always say that because that's my testimony. That's vivid and alive. I don't play with people. Yah has given me favor with every kind of man, from a penniless man like me to millionaires that wanted to help me, wanted to assist me, wanted to bring me along with them. But I said I have a job to do. It's not about making millions. It's about doing the will, the hafitz, the pleasure of my almighty Yah. That was my delight. Not having 4 or 5 wives, not taking a, stop it, not having anyone you choose, and men around you have no wives. This is the lust of this generation of people. We have become lovers of pleasure more than lovers of Yah. Now, this is not how I teach, but for some reason, I haven't taught this or read from this in any teaching in many, many years. But tonight, I'm compelled. We love things and pleasure more than we are lovers of Yah. The Sha'ul life, has this been this taken out of the course of text? He's writing to those scattered abroad. Are we scattered abroad? We take a great delight in pleasures more than we are lovers of Almighty Yah. We have this form of life or being alive, a Shabbat guarding. We have this, but we deny. This is what it implies. We deny. This is what it says. Arnio machi. Arnio machi. We deny, we refuse, we deny someone, we abrogate, we abjure, we reject. That's what we do. And when a man speaks to us in the tone or in the knowledge of matters, we really don't love that kind of a man. We don't love that type. One that is bona fide, one that you can spy on him, see if his life superficial, of hypocrisy. We don't love men like that. We love those what we perceive to be love, that do what I do, that acts the same way I do. When I was in school, a young woman, young girl at that time, they were young women, and that you knew those that did not participate in the activities of all or many of the other girls. They were different. And we as young boys, we were young men, high school, we knew them. And they were the ones that were the special ones. Not the girl that you go to the party or the house party and drinking wine and whiskey. She was there doing the same. That one there pretending she did not. That was not the one that you wanted to marry. You wanted that one that was quiet, kept her mother's home clean, shy. That was the one. Honorable and trustworthy. And we've all gone through that. I know I have. I'm old enough to know that nation. I'm not a 25, 30-year-old man. I'm an older man. So I know what I'm saying. I know what I'm saying. And that's the truth. I'm not your enemy. I tell you, have I become your enemy because I told you the truth? These are self-explanatory. And I will teach this in a greater depth. I haven't taught this in so many years. I'm just amazed. I'm reading from here tonight. We're talking about the last day. We're talking about the last day. We have a form of higher. But we didn't have the power there for such. From such, he tells us. He tells us from such turn away. Don't even engage with them. Don't even fellowship. I don't. I don't engage with people like that. I don't even want to be around them. I really do not. And I'm just being honest. He said, look at Timothy. He says in verse 6, 3 6, for of this sort they are which creep into houses, and they lead into captivity silly women. Women that are full of the folly and the lust and greed. Those that are full of their religious ideology that negates the commands of Yah. That is the principle of this book, and everything is based upon that. First four commandments deal with the identity, the action, our ways of loving Yah. And then the next six, loving each person like you love yourself. And you will do righteous by every man, nation. Makes no difference who it is. But religion doesn't teach us that. The first thing religion does, it takes us away from the Shabbat. It takes us away from the commandments of Almighty Yah, His mitzvot. It takes all of that out of us. And give us some, they're not even principles. Give us some kind of religious doctrine that they have created within the scope of their own religious outreach that has nothing to do with Torah. Show me where the Torah names the Baptist or the Pentecostal. Excuse me, I know it was the day of Pentecost and it was the great moving of Yah's Ruach. He poured out his Ruach upon the people. But show me, please. I simply ask you to show me. There is only one Ichad Imunah, one faith. And that is the confidence of this book, HaTorah, and see the power of that demonstrated to us through the witness and the power of Yahshua HaMashiach. That's real love there. That he gave up that which came from the power of his witness, his word, and subjugated that to every kind of vile, sadistic, evil thing. That's real love there. And that's why we have to learn how to love him. And then when we learn how to love him, learning him, loving him, those first four commandments, those first four, it deals with him. And he says, I know that with his heart it's difficult to love him. He says to me, to you, I give you 6 more to learn how to love him and to care for him. That is the truth, nation. And religion has raped us. It has actually sodomized us. It has. Gone up in the man, woman, it makes no different. That is the Sodom and Gomorrah. We're dying, we're negating the Torah of Yah. If I say I love Yah nation, and I don't shema, I don't guard his commandment, I am an untruthful man. It makes no difference who it is, your mother, your granddaddy. I don't care if they're 9 or 99, it makes no difference. It doesn't, nation. When we hear this truth, we're commanded. When you hear the truth, don't harden your heart. Don't make your heart harden when you hear this truth. It's meant to touch you. It's meant to correct me. It's meant to do that, nation, because he came to deliver us, not from your neighbor, but from you. The activities of my heart, they're not what, or they're not based upon what any man has done to me. It's what I've done to myself. I've lied to me. I'm the one that have corrupted me. No one corrupts me. No one corrupted me. No one put a gun to my head and make me smoke marijuana and do all these kind of vile things. Now I know many of you groups, Hebrews, you all believe in the weed stuff, all right. Well, it's not in the book. It's a form of bewitching. You know it is. Witchcraft. Hallelujah. This is me here and you. Verse 7. 2 Timothy 3:7. He said, we are always learning, ever learning, always. Your teachings on Shabbat and Sunday, you're always learning. And then this is the catalyst. He did not say maybe or sometime. This is emphatic, nation. He says never. Not a chance. Let us look at this word never. Never. Medep atia. Never ever. You can never. Never is not even a chance. Media. Neither, not once. We're never able. And that's the truth. To come to the knowledge of his iman. We're never able to come to the knowledge of his truth, because if we would examine me and understand what's here, I must examine me. I'll spend too much time trying to examine you, critiquing you, and I know everything there is to know about you, because that's why I talk against you, talk about you. That's why I don't like you. But if I love me, had a great deal of care for me, I'm looking at me. I am looking at my own heart, my own mind, my own circumstances. You did not develop them for me. You did not cause any evil to come upon me or anything. I would watch my mother. She's deceased, and my aunt, both are deceased. We lived in a little shack in the state that I reside in now, South Carolina. But I must say, even in that, it wasn't dirt poverty, but we were just as poor as they come. We were poor. There was still an order of everything in that house of my grandmother. My grandmother, her daughters, sons, having babies, putting them on her, and they were doing their thing, just like young daughters today. Mothers encouraged them to do that, not teaching them the discipline. That's the truth, and that's the honest truth. As the old proverb, you can't sweep around anyone's own front door unless you sweep around yours. That is true. That is a proverb of Torah. How can I clean someone else's house when my house is filthy and every kind of vile, sadistic evil transpires in my house? But I can smile with someone delight and try to ostracize you. That's evil at the greatest of height. And the reason why we don't have that We don't have that which is inborn, nurtured as a child. It is one thing as a child. Back in my days, there was no. The only milk you got was titty milk, the best milk of your mother. And if someone there was breastfeeding there, you got a little bit of that. Very, because they didn't have the funds to go buy milk. They didn't. That only happened during the era of my life when they began to give surplus milk to women, Similacs and all of that. That's not natural. That is not natural. He made a man and a woman to produce children. He gave her what we call mammary glands, teats, titties. And from that, the refreshing of life, the nutrition, nutritional things. This stress you drink, I don't drink milk at all. Never did like it. Don't care for it. And this is what the world gives us when it comes to the spiritual thing, the Similacs. Baby running, can't even. You know it's not something that is of great substance and health. Children got all kind of, come on, they're running, their bowels is not under control. You know that is not meant for a child to put that in them. And then in my days, it gravitated from that to the powdered milk and the surplus cow's milk. A cow's milk is for a cow, a calf. A mama's milk from her breast is for the child. And the breast of Yah, his bosom, he feeds us with the living, liquid word of truth, his word. But that's what we've done because women in their careers and men we're trying to gain everything. Everybody trying to outdo everyone, and that's just a fact. That's why we're selfish, we're greedy. I'm telling the truth. Don't get mad at me. I live simple. I don't have anything. When I pass, first of all, I have no children, no sons or daughter. There's nothing to fight for. What were they? This community just set up in a position where no one will get anything, and in my natural family, I have been the oldest son to live. I have been to live, and I have another cousin. He and I, men wise, in the generation of our time, those that are 70, between 70 and 75. All of my brothers deceased before. Not one of them reached 70. Not one of them. Sister, I have one brother left, and his health is so horrendous. I may go before him. I think he's about 65, my youngest brother. We're not able to ascertain, we're not able to gain the knowledge of this truth. Can I ask you, I know it's only a few here tonight, but by some reason you may hear Riyadh David. Ask yourself this question. Am I honest with me? Come on, ask yourself. You ask you that. Are you truly honest with you? When you critique you, do you critique you like you critique others? When you critique your son, mother, do you critique? I know my mother did not. And I know her sister did not do that. I have a cousin, he would be 1 year older than me. He would be 71. But we did everything together. We're liars and thieves. And my mother thought the best of me, that she could knock on wood, but I wasn't like him. And his mother said the same thing, but they were sisters. They were sisters out of the same womb, different fathers, but they were sisters. It's our nature, nation. We're not able to come to the knowledge of his iman, him, who he is, what the book says, because we reject 99.9% of it. I'm guilty of that. The only thing that I take solace in are the things that give my flesh a little comfort. Then he tells us concerning those of Yonis, and Yambris. They withstood Moshe. They stood before him with arrogance and pride. They stood up against him. Who are you to think that you are the one that pronounce everything that is necessary for us? He says this. Look at that part. Timothy 3:8. And this is my guilt. I don't know about you. So do these also. Resist the truth. You resist the truth? Well, let me ask you, do you do what Yah commands you? Remember Zakah Shabbat, keep it set apart. You don't keep the Shabbat, the seventh day. You don't do that. So we resist his Imam, his truth. We resist Torah. Everything that Yahshua said, it is him because he is Torah. He is the living truth of Yah. He is the one that Torah was written, that our ills would be recognized. And then there were contrition and acts and things we did to bring us back into the comfort of Yah. And so in order for that to produce the essence and the qualities of humankind, he came in the flesh. And to show us the viability of living according to this book and producing fruit unto life. That's what he did. So you can't reject the old. You must understand I was taught that as a child. But they taught us the Ten Commandments. The Baptists, the Methodists. In all my life in the youth, I went to a Baptist church. They taught us the commandments. Sunday school classes, they taught us that. But yet not the Shabbat. They didn't honor that. Or his name. They did not. That's the truth. So as those men resist Moshe, the truth, men of corrupt minds, they were reprobate concerning the faith. They had no knowledge. It streamed at them. They were reprobate concerning the Imunah. And then he says this, verse 9. He says this to you and me, but they shall proceed no farther. From where you are now, that's all you're going to grow, because you can't resist this truth. You can't resist the commandments of Almighty Yah. Or you believe in the one thou shalt not kill, but there's a Shabbat day too. What? Come on, nation. Let's get real and truthful with Yah. The old song of my day, not my mama, but it's me, oh Yah, standing in the need of prayer. We will sing that. It's no one but me. I preach to me everything I say. I am the partaker first. I am. And I want my life to reflect that. Your life has to reflect that. Your life has to be the example of that. It can't be any other way. You can't say you're walking in this truth and then you disqualify this. I'm simply reading tonight. I wanted to talk from a different sphere. This is a prime example here in verse 10. We're going to read this. We must, as even this is written, to give us a template of what Shaul is expressing, how the purpose, he proposed his own example to Timothy. We are the example. We are the example. We are the examples to the unbelievers and those that don't know Yah. Us learning how to love and show them that we can live among each other. You live among strangers and beasts of this world. They will rape your baby. They will rape your wife. They will rape your daughter. And your family, your daughters. I'm using that in a general term. Don't be silly. Wives go wrong with other men, and men go wrong with other women. He gave man a beautiful thing, what he calls a wife. And if she's a true wife, she will satisfy every component of a man. And if he's a man, not a little boy, not a boy, OB, but a man will satisfy, he will produce that kind of fervor, a love in her that burns so deep in her bosom. She will show that man honor with the deepest regards, because he is showing her what love is. Not what Tina Turner in my days, what love got to do with it. He will show what love is. And that's a fact, nation. That's a fact. But you have fully known my doctrine, manner of life, and purpose, my immuna, my faith, and the great deals of the long sufferings that I have endured. And he talks about his love, his patience. You have known that. Yeshua is the utmost example. That's why he came in the power of his flesh. And the power of deliverance was only by the word, because he is the word. And the word was delivered by the word. That's the only way we're delivered, nation. That's the only way we're made free. You know, can I ask? Well, I will ask. I will not ask the question. You know, when you've done something even as a child, you know how wrong you had committed a thing. You will feel bad. It's only the ones that were so devious, they had no conscience. But there were those that even had a heart. Young boys, I know I did. When I did something wrong, I didn't do what my mother said, wash the dishes, and I didn't talk back to her. Like my other siblings, they would talk back like they were those in her house now. She's out working. I felt sorry for my mother. I would see that woman get up and walk to the bus stop. We did not have a car. Cold weather, rain weather. She had to get to work to take care of children. Our rent was $15 a week. 837 Holland Avenue, apartment C. We live in apartment A first. We live in apartment B, and then there was the landlord. Because he liked my mother, he said, "I tell you what, I have to put you out, but I moved you to this one and rent you this house." She didn't have the money. And that's a fact. Persecution, affliction, which came to me at Antioch and Iconium, and Lystra. What persecution I endured. But he says this, out of them all Yah delivered me. What battles, what stress I had to encounter. We all are going to go through that. It is not normal if you don't nation. And that's a fact. You're going. He said, Yah is the one that delivered to me. And then he rejoiced here in the 12th verse. He says, yes, yes. And all they that live Chadosh, Kodash, that will live Kodash. In now, you must be in here. In Yoshua Chabashia, you're going to suffer great agony and persecution. I don't care who you are. I don't care who you are. You're going to suffer those kinds of frictions and turmoils and rejection. People will dismiss you. That's a fact. All us that live set apart, guarding the Shabbat nation, you love your sons and your daughters, your grandbabies, you will teach them. And the reason you don't teach them because you don't love them. You concur with their lies. There are people that their daughters and sons, their husband, grandbabies, they don't keep the Shabbat, but they keep the first day. Yah so loved the world that he gave his son to keep in order the order of his commands. And for us to think that we can do different, that you say you love your God, I believe you love a God, the God of this world. I believe that. I will not battle you with that, but you don't love the great Almighty I am Yah. You don't love the one that came to represent the power of Torah, to show us he was a living word. He was the word of Torah. He was a manifestation of Torah, and he came in the same form you or I came in. He was dressed to cry out to the Abba. He was dressed in the same pains, the same agonies, and the same trial. I believe that, nation. I do. It has shown us in the Nevi'im, the prophets and messengers, they have lived, they were killed, persecuted. And he gives us this thing here to be reminded of. 2 Timothy 3:13. He said, but evil men and seducers shall wax worse and worse, as my grandmother would say. We are a people that he says, he said they're going to be one that plan out, deceiving, they go astray. They wander out of the way of Yah. They lead away and they're led away from the truth. You can't define words by your definition. You're not the creator of these words. To lead into error, to deceive, to be led into error, to lead aside from the path of purity, the virtue of Yah, to go astray, to sin, to swerve or fall away from truth. What is truth? Become a heretic. His Torah is truth. That's the only truth. I'll get back to that 1 minute. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. We're going to read this. And we're going to finish up here. And then the book says this. I want to read and show you. He tells us what the Torah, Yochanan 1:17. For the Torah was given to Moshe, but the free unmerited Chama and Chin, the favor and truth came by Yeshua HaMashiach. What does that imply? He fulfilled all of the writings and all of the offerings. He fulfilled them all, nation. He is the one that fulfilled them. He is the one that carried out the mandate of Almighty Yah without complaining, without despising what Yah commanded him. And we must carry that out in the same reference by our lives and how we live and how we complete what Yah commands us to complete, nation. That's for all of us. And even the Nobi Melchiah says it so profoundly here in 2nd Malachi 2:6. He talks about the Torah of truth was in the mouth, and injustice was not found in the lips. He testified of this one that came in the name of him. And he testified of Yeshua HaMashiach, nation. And that is just the truth. We must understand that. We can't go away from the things of Yah. We must hold fast to them. We must cleave to his truth. And that's just the truth. I speak from the very bosom of Yeshua HaMashiach. And I will not lie to you. I want to close with this last verse here. I want to close on this. Hallelujah. I've enjoyed just this little talk tonight. I really have. I enjoy just being here. I enjoy talking this truth and preaching. I do. I enjoy this. I enjoy speaking to the people of Yah, even my enemies. I have no enemies in my home. There's no one that I despise. There are men that I don't want their fellowship. I don't want to be around them. That's why Yah moved his people away from those that were unclean and not walking in the righteousness of his truth. And so I don't want to be in that walk with others. It is this Torah that is the truth. There is no other book. And this book we call the Biblos of the Bible. It is the Torah from Bereshit, from Genesis to Gilead. That is the truth. There is no other truth. It comes from this book. And there is nothing else. And that's a fact. I do appreciate the few of you that have joined me tonight. We may carry out the mandate of Yah as we rest on this Shabbat. We keep our minds steadfast upon him as we take a great delight in Shabbat as it has begun here. I know at times with the way things are, it may not seem dark, but there are 12 hours in a day, right? There are 12 hours in a night. So you know what time the Shabbat begins, nation. And that's just the truth. Don't let someone upset you because you began at 7. We began at 7. It's not even daylight at 7. Dark. It's daylight at 7 during the summer when they set time back from 7 to 7. At 12 hours night and 12 hours day, all right? Listen, I'm going to close from here. Prepare myself for the Shabbat teaching. You few that have joined me, you want to listen tomorrow. We're in the process of getting our different teachings during the week of the broadcast, getting that securely fixed. So I can come at any time, send out an email, and touch the people of Yah and speak to them. This is Israel David Yisrael El here from Teshua, a prayer community that is victory community. We have Teshua, Yoshua HaMashiach. From here live tonight, we're going to sign off as it begins to darken here, 8:31, and that we will meet on his Shabbat on tomorrow. And I will send out that to you all in the morning and show you the teaching. Do support this one. Send your tithes in. We need the tithes. This is, it costs money. Everything I'm looking at, it costs money to make sure we have the service and to utilize different prototypes to protocol to reach out to you all. And do send your tithes and offering. And I know, listen, I'm going to answer all you kind ones that have sent gifts and offering. I work, I'm talking about physically. I'll start planting all the seeds for the fall garden next week after the shoot, after the mortem. I'll start no later than Monday. And I will put out about 1,000 seeds, mostly broccoli and cauliflowers, and those kind of things, and kales and cabbages. Those are the vital things to eat, especially here. And I will put all those things out, nation. I will prepare to make sure there is sufficient for us to eat. You know now that food is expensive. And if you were near, you would come, you will see all the stuff we have in raised beds and everything. We cannot even eat it all. So, Yavarok, my friends, my enemies, stop that. Yavarok, be encouraged. Yokshu Hamashir. Shabbat. Shalom Nation. All right.